Hello, everyone, and welcome back to a third edition of our Boozecast show. Joined as ever by Gary and John. We're running very late tonight. It's not going to affect you because it's a pre-record, but we've just had to listen to Gary drone on about bloody Love Island, don't we, John? Honestly, it's
quite embarrassing, to be honest with you. I mean, the 71-year-old watching Love Island is unbelievable.
74-year-old watching Love Island. Yeah.
So it's going to be a late night for us. It's going to be a late night. Also, I won't be able to put the questions up on the screen tonight because I've been stuck on the A406 back from Chiswick. 3 hours I was getting home, so I've not had time to do that. So I'm going to be reading the questions out more than just a podcast style. So I've nicked Nigel's format for one night.
Nick,
we'll be reading them out.
Fail to prepare to fail. You know the old saying.
Nigel's format of reading. So Nigel invented reading, did he?
He did invent reading.
He did. Yeah.
He's a genius.
I know. I won't do the voices though that he does. But no. So obviously you've seen our shows this week. We've reached out to people for questions and stuff like that. I think it's going to be a bit samey. We're obviously going to take different angles where we can, but there is really only one burning question on people's lips at the moment, and I think you'll see that as we go through. We've also got a few messages from people as well. You know, one in particular from Dave. I'll tell you what. We'll start with Dave. Dave Hurst is a guy. He's one of our mates. Travels all over the place to watch West Ham. He's a diehard supporter.
Fucking good-looking bloke as well.
Handsome devil he is. And he's generally a glass half full. He's quite a fierce chap, but he's a positive supporter, is what he is.
Very positive.
He's a positive supporter. And this was his message. We've got a Facebook group, and this was how he said he felt after the game on the weekend. Right. He said, I left the ground with about 5 minutes left on Sunday. He said hundreds of us trudged back to Northumberland Park Station, stood there for a good half an hour waiting to get into the station. Spurs fans were taking the piss and trying their hardest to get a rise, but nothing. Everyone was as low as a snake's belly and seemed resigned to going down under Moyes. On the train back to Liverpool Street, we were chatting with some Spurs fans, and they were stunned at how accepting of the situation that we are. The few glimmers of hope at Newcastle have been brushed aside, the stuffing knocked out of us in the stands, and a real deep depression has set in. That second half display was our worst this season, against fucking Spurs of all teams. Moyes is ultimately to blame. His reluctance to do anything bold. Should have seen him out the door a few months ago. But I'm also going to take a dig at the players. They rolled over as soon as it went to 1-0. Absolutely no fight from anyone. A pitiful effort from all. And he says, I've travelled to a lot of places, both home and abroad over the years. And right now, I couldn't give a shit if I don't go to another West Ham game. Yeah. And I think that's pretty much how you felt yourself directly after that game, John, wasn't it? I think you kind of echoed that yourself a little bit.
Yeah. Look, I've been accused or said that I'm half glass full kind of guy, and it has got me now where, and I agree with Dave. I'm not saying the players are as equal to blame because we've got our debates about that, haven't we? But
yeah,
it just seems nothing from top to bottom. It seems like like Dave's saying there that, you know, the Tottenham fans are shocked at how accepting we are. But if you look through the club from top to bottom, it's like everybody's accepting it because the performances on the pitch are abject and toothless. The manager is abject and toothless. And the owner is also toothless. There's no balls anywhere at the moment. And, you know, it's very easy to point at Moyes. It's very easy to point at the players, but I think it comes from the top.
Yeah.
But as we are here and now, obviously Moyes is the one in the firing line because he's not changing anything. And I agree totally with Dave. And obviously I've seen on other channels today that apparently we've got a first time this season, we've got everybody fully fit for Saturday. But
Cornet as well, apparently.
But, you know, but it doesn't excite you because you sort of think, yeah, but nothing's going to change.
No.
And that's the concern. It's like, I used to use it as a bit of a thing before. I was, you know, earlier on in the season saying, yeah, but when people come back, he's got to change it. I think he will.
Yeah.
Maybe optimism. I'm being honest with you. I genuinely thought he would. But now you're starting to see that nothing's changing. You know, Skamaka and Ings on the bench for most of the game against Spurs when we need goals. Nothing changing. Like for like changes. Substitutes all over again. And everybody's back at the weekend. But I'm not excited about everybody being back because I just sort of think nothing's going to change though, is it? Because Moyes is there.
No, that's it. And the thing is, you can see, and the thing is, I'm very reactionary, as you all know, and I went a lot, but I went a lot sooner than most. But I went for the same reasons. I went because exactly what Dave's talking about now and what you're talking about. I've been feeling that for a long time, and it's a shame. It's a shame, and I don't really see a way out. I mean, the messaging that we're getting now, it's mixed messaging, and you can't really, you got to take it with a pinch of salt. Because the last thing that Sullivan is going to do is come out to an ITK and say, we're going to sack Moyes if he loses. If he's backing him for the Nottingham Forest game, he's not going to relay any other message, is he? He's going to make it seem like he's safe because he's going to want to give him the best possible chance of succeeding. Personally, I don't think there is any way at all he can survive, irrespective of whether there are any short-term managers or not. There's no way he can survive because I tell you what, he's sucking the lifeblood out of the support. Like I said earlier, you mentioned it. A really good video earlier, Gary. You said when did football come to this? How did we fucking arrive at this? You know, when you sort of to relay a message that you said earlier on. You said we was bred into West Ham. And then it was West Ham themselves that made us fall in love with them. You go to the games, you get your heroes, you watch the football, and you get addicted to it. What kids are going to get? I'll tell you, if I was coming nowadays, if I was a kid, I would have lost interest, 100%.
Well, there were a few things. I'm a big consumer of podcasts, and there were two comments. Well, there were three actually. One that led to my video today, and that was one from Nigel. I actually mentioned the Harry Redknapp thing on Sunday, but Nigel mentioned it on More Than Just a Podcast, and he kind of gave me, him and Canning Town then were talking, and there was something that Canning Town said on there as well, and it was like, when did we stop being a football club? Or words to that effect, right? And that really chimed something inside of me because I thought, big athletic stadium, with the actual meaning of football as it means to me in West Ham, which is we can beat anyone on our day, and attacking football. If we ever go at someone, we can beat them, and that might end up that might mean that quite a lot we're going to lose as well. But we're going to go down fighting. We're not going to just turn up and roll over. And then I listened to Stop Hammer Time, and they had James Kearns on there who wrote that brilliant blog. Forget what it was called. Fantastic, right? Really well written, very intelligent bloke. And he picked up something in the post-match interviews from David Moyes on Sunday, which corroborated what Antonio said in his podcast earlier in the season. And I think you'll remember earlier in the season, Antonio said the instructions to the manager was to sit tight, try and keep it tight, wait till 70 minutes, then throw the kitchen sink at it. Right. Apparently, James Kearns, words from his mouth, said in the post-match interview on Sunday, was it? He said David Moyes came out and said, we were hoping to keep it tight for 70 minutes.
That is what he said, yeah.
And then try and nick a goal in the last 20. Now, I'm sorry, that is not West Ham. That is not football for me. That is just that's just going to turn me off. It's going to turn everyone else off. And I'll take you back to something else I said in that video today. Can you imagine taking a young kid along to West Ham and trying to get them interested? I mean, it's going to be the new experience in the big stadium and everything else, but the excitement is there on the pitch, right?
Well, John's son is, as mine is, he's a football nut, and he asked to leave in that Spurs game, didn't he? He said, "Can we go?"
Look, the game, he's a good judge of a game. The game was as good as dead when they scored the second goal, and he. Look, he's been going since he was 6, 5 or 6. He's had a season ticket, and it's very rare for him to want to leave. He's the kid that wants to stay behind and clap the players and wave at them and all that stuff when they come over and all that. But he didn't have a care in the world. He just wanted to get home Sunday, and it made me think. And usually I'd probably say to him, "No, you can't leave." Yeah. But I was like, "You sure?" He went, "Yeah." I went, "Yeah, come on then." So there was no, because I had no hope.
No, no, no. I know.
So,
I know. And going on to another message. Somebody that I think most of us follow on Twitter is Jack Elderson. You know, the guy that he's a diehard West Ham fan, but he looks, because it's his job, he looks at West Ham through analytical eyes, so he kind of sees the game quite impartially now. And even he's come out now, and this is something that he tweeted in response to someone else. He said, having an identity that is built around nullifying everyone else might play well with a group of underperformers and seasoned relegation scrappers, but I can see it having a pretty short shelf life with a squad full of international stars. And I think that is absolutely bang on, and I think that is what we're seeing playing out. This game plan isn't inspiring these new guys. I think Moyes he's bang out of his depth. He is. He can't motivate them.
Yeah. The only thing I'd say to that, I think someone said it on one of the shows we did at the weekend, maybe, or something. I think it might have been the show after the Tottenham game that used to did.
Yeah.
Someone put a comment up, and I think Gary put it up, and I sort of agree with it. It was something along the lines of, when are the players going to almost perform a mutiny and just decide once they're on the pitch to do what they want?
Yeah.
And surely there comes a point when they just go, you know what, lads, let's just we're better than this. Let's just change our style. I wonder if it can ever come to that. I don't know.
Or there's another way. There's another thing it could come to, and this I think happens in clubs more often than not when they hit a point that we've hit at the moment, right? And that always happens when a manager's on the way out, and that is the players decide that they're going to do their best to help the manager get fired, right? And I wonder if that is because I'm pretty sure if I was one of those players at the moment, that'd be going around in my mind thinking, I'm looking at social media. You know, all of them are young. All of them consume social media, whether they admit to it or not. They know that he's probably on his last legs, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you're sitting there as a player and you're thinking, I can't stand this manager. I can't stand this manager. We're just going to go down if we carry on playing the way we go, right? The way we are at the moment, right? And you've got an option. You know, I'm not saying chuck the game, but I'm saying, you know, perform at 60 or 70%. Don't perform at your best, right? Give Forest enough to help them over the line. If that sorts your problem out for you, and then with 15 games to go, we've got another solution.
Claret and
Don't know
Booze.
who it is, right? You know, what would you do, John, in that situation? What would you do as a player?
The only thing I'd say to that is this: as a fan, right?
Yeah.
If I hate the whole new manager bounce thing, right? Because I get a little bit like cynical, basically alluding to what you've just said there. Because I always think if the players are on the pitch and just because they're not a fan of the manager, they're not playing properly or whatever, and not giving it their all, we're the paying public. But as soon as that manager then goes, all of a sudden they're playing out their skin. That would actually annoy me a little bit because I sort of start to think you're playing with my emotions and you're playing with my club. I hope that's not the case, but yeah, it's a possibility because you know the player power is huge. You know, so
to these players, right? It's not emotional like it is in large part. It's not emotional like it is for us. You know, they've got their professional pride and stuff like that, but they don't adore West Ham United like we do.
I think
they look upon this as a dodgy boss, for instance. Yeah?
No, but Gary, I think it is emotional to any sportsman that is competitive that wants to win games. I think they've all got. I think this would be hurting all of them. They'll be embarrassed by this. They'll be frustrated by it. I mean, they're all top level professionals, and if they are looking at the situation now, and they'd be right to, they could look at themselves and go, yeah, we could do better. We could keep on hammering away and pissing in the wind at David Moyes' tactics, but they will look at him and go, just fucking sort it out. Let us go. Let us help you out. You know, it would, in the end, John, it would grind you down. I mean, you know, I know we.
I know, but the only thing I'd say about that is you've got players there like Rice, who's been a great servant. You've got Ogbonna, who's had a great 8 or 9 years. Surely they wouldn't be playing with our last memories of them of being in the team that gets us relegated. I don't believe that they would be taking that chance. Maybe subconsciously they are, but consciously taking that chance and taking that decision because, you know, their whole the way we remember those two players specifically could all hinge on what happens now if we go down. Because you've seen people turn it. People are turning on Ogbonna already, like really going in on Ogbonna, and people are really going in on Rice, and they're the wrong people to go in on. It shouldn't really be the players we're going in on, because the players are sort of between a rock and a hard place. They're like you say, they might have had enough of Moyes, but what do they do?
But the thing is, I don't believe that they're downing tools. I think look, we've all played football, all right. No, obviously not to the type of levels that they're at.
Far off.
But they're it's fine margins, right? So they're finely tuned athletes. They've got to be 100% physically and mentally. Now, I don't think that they are consciously going out there not trying. But if they're not, if there's something not right, if their confidence isn't right, if their confidence in the team and the players around them and their manager isn't right, they're not going out there sulking. I don't believe any footballer goes out on the pitch to do bad. I don't believe that.
Do you think that if Noble was captain, he would approach Moyes and say something's not right here? Or do you think Rice does that?
He's been approached. I mean, it's already been pretty much confirmed that all season long there's been bust ups in the changing room.
Yeah.
There's been bust ups. So, but Moyes is a stubborn man. That much we know about him. He's not gonna change his ways. You know,
No, he is a stubborn man, and again, I don't think, looking at, I don't think he takes advice from anyone. No. I don't think he takes advice from his backroom staff. I don't think he listens to his players. I think he shows loyalty to a small number of who he considers to be the stars, the undroppables.
Yeah,
Antonio's clearly one of them, right?
He is.
I don't know. I don't know what's.
Yeah, but Antonio's undroppable purely because he's the only striker that we've got that can do the role that
can work in that system. That can work in that system.
What does that role produce, though? What does it produce? It produces no goals.
That role,
it produces a lot of effort and no goals.
I spoke to Gatesy earlier, and you know what? He made that lineup sound even worse with the way that he worded it. He said we played with 5 at the back, 3 central defensive midfielders. He said our 2 strikers were on the bench and we was playing with 2 converted wingers up front.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
exactly what it is. Yeah. You could even go back and say Antonio was a right back.
You
could even go back and say Antonio was a right back as well.
It is fucking bizarre, isn't it? It is crazy.
But Antonio's role is not to score. Antonio's role...
I know. I agree.
Antonio's role is to hold the ball up with his back to goal and try and get a free kick, and we get a free kick and someone heads it in. That's what his role is. He don't care if he scores.
He's a disruptive force at the front of the pitch.
I'll tell you what, it ain't bizarre. It's fucking demoralising because, he's going to have, John mentioned saying earlier about him having a fully fit squad for Saturday, right? What's he going to do? Cornet is now back and he's looking sharp in training, apparently. He's going to get the last 5 minutes, isn't he? He's going to get the last 5 minutes. Paqueta is apparently fit. He's going to be fit. He'll get the last 10 minutes. He'll stick with Downs for this one because he'll definitely, especially with his job on the line, fuck me, that's going to be, just as defensive as Spurs, because in David Moyes' mind, he didn't do anything wrong at Spurs. We were just unlucky.
I'll tell you what, Touch, before we move on to the next question, I'm not criticising him at all, but he's a West Ham fan. He's a tenacious player. If there's one... He's someone that's trying to get into the first team as well. I was expecting a little bit more of Downs in that game. It's certainly when it came to sort of putting in crunching tackles and stuff like that. I thought he would have got, but I thought he would have got stuck in a bit more, and he didn't. I'm not singling him out. I'm not. But
can I just give you a bit of a conundrum, right?
Yeah.
Declan Rice is one of the best central defensive midfield players in the world, right?
Yeah.
But David Moyes rates him so lowly that he has to play him alongside 2 other central defensive midfielders. He can't just play him like England do. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what must the likes of Fornells and Lanzini, 2 creative central midfielders, be thinking when they're sitting there on that bench, looking at that team, seriously, the passing, whenever we did get the ball, it was sideways and backwards.
Yeah.
We had no clue what we was doing.
Lanzini's a little bit different because he's probably going to be going back to Argentina in the summer anyway.
No. But what I mean is any player, because you would be looking at that and going, they're all the same fucking player. They've all got the same idea.
But what I'm saying is Lanzini's mind is probably, so what? It could be. I'm not sure it isn't. But Lanzini's mind is on his next move. Not saying that but the person I worry about is Fornals, because he loves West Ham, like Lanzini does. But Fornals is a lot younger and he wants to be around this club for a lot longer, right?
Yeah.
I worry about his mindset, because he must be thinking, I ain't getting a sniff here, am I?
No,
and he's looking at those players and thinking,
well, look, hopefully these players, because for me, all of them, every player, even the likes of Suchek and Sufel, I've dug out in the past, every single player will get a clean slate with me, Kera, all of them, when a new manager comes in, because this guy does not improve anyone. Look at how well Diop's playing at Fulham. Seriously, look at how well Diop is playing at Fulham at the moment.
No, absolutely.
He's made a few mistakes, but yeah, he's done.
No,
better.
he's doing well. He's doing well, John.
He is a devaluer of players, and what I just said about Rice, right? That is what he's doing to Rice. He's devaluing Rice as well, right?
I know.
Rice, right? You know, people are seeing that Rice can't be the only. You know, the good sides, they only have one central defensive midfielder, right? And they're seeing that even for West Ham, Declan Rice can't be the only central defensive midfielder. He's got to have two others around him as well, and we've got to play five at the back. So what use is it?
But anyway, look, let's move into the next one, because we're 20 minutes in. So, hello everyone. Right, a quick intermission. I'm going to try and make this as quick as I can. Basically, I've got a litter of bulldogs. They are from the Levitt Bulldog line. So, mum and dad are Levitt Bulldogs. So they're an old English bulldog breed. And they are our babies. They really are. We've managed to find wonderful homes for some of them. They're 6 weeks old now, and they'll be ready to go 10 to 12 weeks. You know, we've had their first injections done, microchipped, and we're having their second injections done as well before we let them go. And we're doing their base training and everything like that. Yeah, it's quite a tough video for me to do. Actually, I didn't really want to do this, but I want to give them the best possible chance of finding a nice home. You know, we've had some interest from some people, and you know, we're not just going to let them go to anyone. They are our babies. You know, I would rather keep them myself and live in a zoo, which I hope I don't have to do. I hope we can find lovely, loving homes for all of them. To give you a little bit of background on the on the breed, it's around about a 40-year-old. Breed from the US. There's only one official breeder in the UK, and that isn't me. I've got two dogs from that litter, and it is an accidental breeding. We won't be doing it again. So these are a one-off chance to get yourself a Claret and Booze Bulldog. They are stunning. They really are. Like I say, I'll throw the pictures up on the screen now. So as you can see down the bottom left-hand side, that's dad. That was dad at 1 year old. And we've got Bonzo up in the top left. We've got Frank, Colton, Bubbles, and obviously there's some others that have found homes. But so yeah, look, if you are interested and you are familiar with bull breeds, and you think you've got the time to apply to a dog like this, then please get in touch on the number below. You know, they're a wonderful dog. You know, they're not like your typical bulldog. The reason I went for this breed is because I've had English bulldogs before and they had health problems. So I researched the hell out of it, and I found a healthy breed, and healthy they are. They're also incredibly athletic and energetic as well. So they love walking. They're good guard dogs. They're a powerful breed. So yeah, you want to get your training in and stuff like that, you know, and you will end up with a fantastic dog. They're brilliant guardians for the family. But like I say, you've got to be prepared to put the work in with them, and it will pay dividends. But like I say, please, if you are interested, give me a shout on a number below. I'll close this now, and I'll play a little video for you before I go.
Puppies! Hey puppies! Hey puppies! Hey puppies! Hey babies! Hey babies! Hey puppies! 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 Hey puppies! Puppies! My puppies! Hey baby! Come on! Better late than never. Hello, beautiful. Hello.
So yeah, that's it. Right, okay. Well, that's it. Back to the show. Sorry about that, but like I say, just I was hoping to be able to place them with friends and family. I've not advertised them at all because you know we had people that were interested, but their circumstances have changed. So I didn't want to do that. I wanted to place them all with people that I know so that I could stay in touch with them all, but I've not been able to do that. So yeah, like I say, give us a shout if you're interested. And yeah, back to the show. Thank you very much. I'm going to play a message from our mate.
By the way, before we go there, I'm sorry for my orange appearance. I don't know what's gone wrong with me lighting, but I'm bright orange.
That's all that Elvis juice you've been drinking, Gary.
It's not. You know what it is? He's lying. What's happened is you've been going on the sunbeds because you've been watching Love Island. And
I haven't. No.
You're jealous of the bloke's hands on Love Island. That's what you were doing. You're Dan Collier Row in the sunbed shop, I reckon.
I cannot lie.
But anyway, look, this is from Mickey Smith, our own Mickey Smith, who
Mickey.
we hear from all the time. Here we go.
Hello, Mickey.
And Blues. My name's Mickey Smith. I'm the one with the Alf Garnett profile picture. I hope you're all doing well. And listen, a question I've got, and it's probably been asked a few times, but the problem I've got, someone who's very inquisitive and asks questions, is that I'm struggling with a question because they're all the same question everyone wants answering. Do you know? So the question I've got though is that how is there still Moyes in supporters?
Yeah.
Like, how are we not at grands, like in home games and away games and that, not really like shouting for him to go?
Yeah.
Like, there is a thing about supporting the team, lovely, and I'll support the team all day long. But other managers, like Pellegrini and Avram Grant, had the supporters fuming and wanted him out.
I did.
But all you get from a lot of supporters is, you've got short memories of, like, what he's done. So we're meant to be living in, like, and appreciate the past glories and not what's happening now in front of our eyes, in real time. Like, I don't get it. I really don't. Even if you, like, we say about 14 months, the Premier League form has been terrible. But if you want to take them 14 months away and just say this season alone, it's just getting worse and worse. It's shocking. It's absolutely shocking. Like I said, and all you hear from these fans is, we turn a corner if, like I said, a little bit of a positive result, or think about what he's done. I just, it baffles me. It really does baffle me, lads. So yeah, that's the question. Although, sorry, I'm not too sure if it's a question or just a bit of a rant. But yeah, it's the one I could just think of for now. Because what's happening at West Ham sort of makes me mind numb. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just think, what's going on here?
Yeah.
I just want him gone. I think you said it, Nick. I think you said it a few months ago, before Christmas and that Moyes should just go now, let him go, because he's going to taint his legacy, if you like, if you want to call it that. Yeah. And people are going to turn on him. But I'm one of them people. I can't stand the man now. Over the last couple of months and that, when you read his podcasts and some of the wording he says, why would you want a man like this in charge? I don't get it. But yeah, have a good one, lads. Tell me once.
Cheers, Mickey.
Cheers, Mickey.
Was that Danny Dyer?
No. I'll tell you what, Mickey's great. He always leaves a really nice comment on the videos and stuff like that. He's really supportive, and he's got a really good point, and takes me back to something that still irritates me, even though it's several weeks ago now, and that is being up at Derby when West Ham are fourth from bottom, and Derby fans start singing, "We've got super whatever," and our lot pipe up and say, "We've got super David Moyes." And honestly, I was frantic. I was looking around. I was next to Chris Miles and going, "What the fuck are they singing? What are they singing?" And I was looking around me, and there weren't many people singing it, but it sounded like loads of people were singing it. And I had this little interaction with Kent today, because he said, "Oh, I was there as well." And he said, "Oh, there was hardly anyone singing it." I said, "Yeah, but on telly, it sounded like everyone was singing it." Yeah, and then the following day, you had everyone going, "You see, told you so. Everyone still supports David Moyes." We've got to stop this shit, right? And this is the problem. Nick, you mentioned a couple of days ago about how we should protest. Now, West Ham has always been like herding cats when it comes to protests, right? Even when you go back to the Bond scheme, go back to moving stadiums, you go back to the carnage that we had around the Burnley game and everything else. Arranging a protest at West Ham, good luck with that. It just ain't going to happen, right? Getting everybody reading off the same hymn sheet just ain't going to happen. trying to say, oh, we should target David Moyes in the next game. Well, yeah, it's a good idea, but it won't happen because come the game, people will be absorbed with the game and they'll just forget their lines, right?
But this is what I'm saying. Why have we the fans let this go so far? This is what I don't understand. And the fans have. The fans are just as culpable as David Sullivan on the whole. Yeah. On the whole, because there's been no murmurs. I heard Nigel say it on the More Than Just a Podcast. He said the same thing. He said, what? It's like we've been. We talk about forenails. It's like we've been moist. It is like that. It's like we've had the life sucked out of us, and we're just kind of just sitting there.
That was a really good point that Nigel made. Actually,
yeah, but
we have been moist.
Yeah,
all
but
of us.
we're just sitting there. We're just accepting it, and the thing is, and like you say, you know, we could boo him. This is how fickle the fan base is now. They'll boo him one week. And then he'll go and get a draw the next week, and then they will be singing his fucking name again. I know, and I don't understand it because we've seen like way more than enough now of this. Way more. It's not just a style of football. There are countless things that David Moyes has done wrong. You could talk for hours about it. In fact, tell me something he's done well. That's the other thing. There isn't much in the past 14 months. Tell me something he's done well. He's got to go, and I can't understand why the fans have been so tolerant. And when I mentioned that on Twitter about protesting, I wasn't talking about, rehashing, organised marches, raising money, buying banners and stuff. I wasn't thinking anything like that. I was just thinking getting people together, aligned to do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean. It was innocent. Yeah,
it was innocent.
On,
yeah, well, I'm not interested in anything like that. We won't be doing that.
No, but you can't fly a plane to start with for a banner over.
This is true. Yeah, this is true.
I haven't sung "We've Got Super David Moyes" all season, if I'm honest. I don't think that I haven't spoken to anyone directly for a long time that is a Moyes in person, right? I think it is dwindling, right, massively. But the problem you've got, I think the fans are not accepting, but I think the fans are just like, Sullivan will do what he wants. Now, I know, Nick, you say that Sullivan wants to be popular, and if the fans turn, he'll get rid of Moyes. But I don't think he will, mate. I think he does exactly what he wants when he wants, i.e. the stadium move. They did exactly what they wanted when they wanted. I don't think...
No, but they brainwashed the fans. The fans were in favour of it. Okay. In the majority, the fans were in favour of that move.
But everything Moyes has done, i.e. podcasts and interviews, everything he's done is pretty much been watched, been sanctioned, and been agreed by the club, if not scripted in the main, right?
Yeah.
He is the biggest puppet and yes man that Sullivan has ever had. So in my mind, Sullivan will get rid of him as and when he wants. And I don't think any fan protest, whether it be booing or whatever you want to call it, will affect him. The only thing that might make him is if people don't go to the game, right?
Yeah.
And for me, I would find it very difficult to boycott a game. And that's me being totally honest with you, because I support the club and I feel like I'm turning my back on the club. And I know if you want to get done, you've got to take the harsh reality, but...
John, you've got to do something that catches the press's attention, right? What Newcastle did once was great. They went into the stadium, I think, 5 minutes after kickoff or something like that.
Yeah.
Right, and they carried on doing that. So at the beginning of the game, it was empty, and then 5 minutes in, everyone started piling in. Yeah, now that gets media attention. It gets press coverage, right? I think Nigel, I think Sean said it as well. If Sean actually said that on More Than Just a Podcast, right? He said if the guns were turned on Sullivan, and you had a couple of thousand people giving Sullivan a hard time inside the ground and singing anti-Bulldog songs and stuff like that, he would wake up. He would wake up, a light bulb would go off, right? As far as David Moyes, his legacy, is now fucked. As far as I'm concerned, there is no legacy. He's used up all his credit. But going back to David Sullivan, don't be under no illusions, right? And this goes back to what Mickey said. This is not just the reaction that happens in the ground and people supporting the manager and not having to go at the ball and stuff like that. It's everything. The club monitors all of social media. They'll be monitoring this podcast. They'll be monitoring every other podcast.
They've got people that watch it all.
They'll be doing everything, right? And what they see on social media is a divided fan base, right? All those people who are still sticking up for David Moyes through some fucked up I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is other than that thing about, I always support the manager until they've gone. Yeah, but he's crap.
I know.
Did you not watch that game the other day? You can't support that bloke.
Yeah,
you
also,
are the problem. You are the problem.
But that is a massive problem, and there's also an issue with. And I will say this as well, because we've had this the whole way through. I mean, for the last 6 months, if you dared to go on the Moyes out on the Moyes, especially with some of the channels, you were chastised, having the piss ripped out of you. I mean, called toxic, called this and called that. Now you've got channels that are coming out now saying that they accept they are Moyes out now, but they're not apologising for the fact that they're taking the piss out of people for 6 months. They're not doing that.
No, they're not. And this is just this is the thing. What my point was, right? It's got to be a one size fits all. We've got to give a unified fans message. Yeah. Whenever you get one of those voices popping up on social media, be it on Twitter, on YouTube, whatever, going, no, they've got to give the man after all he's done for us the last couple of years. That is filtering through as a divided fan base.
Yeah, 100%.
Stop it. Stop it. It's got to go.
I think you've got to wake up and smell the coffee a little bit, though, because with all due respect to everybody, because in terms of Moyes, Sullivan's already covered himself, hasn't he? He's already come out and said, "I can't find a capable manager to replace him."
That's not an excuse, mate.
No, but it's his excuse, Nick, to not get rid of Moyes, mate. Let me tell you.
No, I know. It could well be, but mate, he can't keep him around,
mate, because he's pissing in the wind. He don't care what we think. He don't care what we say. He is keeping Moyes. I've said it since the start of September.
I will accept you're right. If we lose against Nottingham Forest, there's a fan. No. What I'm saying, hang on 1 minute. I will accept, John, that you're right. If we lose against Nottingham Forest and they keep him, there is a massive fan reaction, and then he ignores it. If he ignores the fans then and nothing happens, then I'll agree with you. But I'm telling you now, David Sullivan is a populist. That's why he likes being a club owner. He likes to sit he likes to sit on his throne in his club with his girlfriend, and he likes to feel like he's worshipped. He will not want to be sitting in that stadium with loads of fucking voices.
Which is why we got to embarrass him.
Yeah, you got to embarrass him. You got to embarrass him,
Nick,
John.
You got to embarrass him.
Nick, he hasn't been at a game for months, mate. He hasn't been at a game for a while. He hasn't been at a game for a while, mate.
Then John, what we've got to do is all over social media, every outlet. He's got to be focused on the board and how they're fucking up. It's like this little 10 or 20% having a go at the board at the moment, right? It needs to be 90%, 100% having a go at the board and saying, "What are you doing, fucking up?" And it needs to come from every angle, inside the ground, outside the ground, social media, and everything else. If you let them off the hook, they're going to look out there at the moment on social media and say, "Oh, still divided opinion. You get away with hanging on to him for another couple of games. Don't worry about it."
But the bigger picture is this: even if they do get rid of Moyes, they are still running the circus. Nothing will change. Yeah. The type of manager they bring in again will be exactly the same within reason, right? And that's the problem. It's just going around in a circle. It's all coming back around again. Nothing's ever going to change, and that's the problem. So we can cry for the manager to get sacked as much as we want, but as long as he's there, it will keep remaining the same circus that we've always has been.
Well, Gio said tonight, I looked at one of his things on Ama's chat, right? One of his shows. And what he said was, if we lose on Saturday, he can't believe the people who are saying he won't go. He thinks he will go. But he thinks the default position of what will happen if he goes on Saturday is Rafa Benitez 3.5 years, right? That's a done deal. And the one little light I can take from that is that Rafa Benitez has been hated by every single board that he's worked for.
Yeah, but I personally, I know he's not he's not a popular appointment. I know he wouldn't be. But for me, do you know what? I don't want a pragmatist. I don't. But if you're going to get a pragmatist, get a fucking pragmatist that knows how to win, a winner. He does try to win games. He is different. Look at his fucking record where he's been. He's a very successful manager. There's a difference. You've got Jose Mourinho, Simeone, Benitez. He's in with that lot. In terms of the negative pragmatists, you've got fucking Tony Pulis, David Moyes, Sam Allardyce. That's the end of the market that David Moyes is in. So
you're right.
So although Rafa Benitez wouldn't be my dream appointment, because I'm so sick of the negative football that we've been watching now for so long. I want it to go completely the other way. That's what I think we need. I really do. And there's going into a few comments now that we've got. And let me find this one from Just George. Right, so he says, look, I can't think of anything we haven't all said by now, and this is a trouble. I'm just going through the motions until the season's done. No faith in the manager or the owners. The only thing I've been thinking is I want Moyes out, but I can't see the board being capable of hiring someone who will keep us up. It won't happen because of bad blood with the board, but if it was me, I would love to bring in Di Canio to get some of these players fired up. Now, I'll be honest with you. I know people are going to laugh at that and they're going to sneer at it, but look at that place on a match day at the moment. How desolate is that place with 60,000 fans in it? Generally, for 90% of the time, it is fucking awful in there. It's dead. I mean it. I think you do need to drop a bomb on it. Just imagine. Hang on, Gary. 1 minute. Just imagine. All right. Paolo Di Canio for a few months, not just on his own, with someone else, whatever. But Paolo Di Canio coming in there, I'm telling you, do you think we would have seen a gutless performance, John, away at Spurs, like what we saw there with Di Canio, sort of even in the changing room, not even necessarily managing them? We need something like that. We need a bit of crazy, because we're not crazy anymore. We're boring. We're so boring.
Yeah, I agree.
God, John, I mean, I've got something better, right?
Go on.
And that is, this is my proposal. After the feedback I got from the video I posted today and everything else, this is my proposal. For 3 months, only 3 months, no extension, no new contract. 3 months to keep us up. Harry Redknapp in charge. Paolo Di Canio is the number 2.
But look, Di Canio can manage. He can.
Yeah, he can.
No. What I mean is Di Canio can manage. And look, I'm not saying it's got to be him. I know there's a lot of. There's a lot of controversy around him.
What are you saying? He can. How are you judging he can manage by, Nick?
I think we're at a stage now, John, where if you want a temporary manager, we're at a stage now where we don't necessarily need a master tactician. I think we've got good players. I just think we need someone to come in with a bit of passion. Even we said before, even if you did leave it to the likes of Nolan and Noble, I think that would see a massive upturn. But we just need to see something a little bit different. Fucking go the other way. Go the other way. We've got good players. We're struggling. He can't put any more defenders on the pitch, and we're still conceding, but we can't score. But we have got players that can create and score if we play in the right way. I know it doesn't look like it if you look at it statistically, because we can't score. But that is down to the way that Moyes plays. So Moyes coming out bemoaning his lack of creation in that team and bemoaning his lack of goals. Is he taking the piss? What is it? How many goals? What does he do?
I've got to the stage, I think I said it in a video I did last week, I just literally have got to the stage where I just think he feels he's unsackable to some extent. And he can only feel like that. Again, I'm going to go back to Sullivan. He can only feel like that if he's constantly getting reassurances from someone.
If he was so secure, John, why would he be playing such scared football?
Because he's right. We've had poor form all season. We're now in a relegation dogfight, or have been for a while. The football will not get any more expansive because now he's in a relegation battle where every point does matter. So he's actually playing for the point more than ever before.
Yeah.
Because now we're in a relegation battle. You are petrified of not picking up a point. And now he's actually put himself in a worse situation. He's becoming more defensive as the season's going on because he's trying to trying to grab every point he can.
Yeah,
because of what he's done at the start of the season. That's what I think's happened.
I know. Right, we've got Poker Mush, who agrees with you, John. He said, after 13 years of Sullivan, I really don't think it matters who the manager is now. I agree and I disagree at the same time, because we've had good times in the Sullivan era with certain managers. We know we have 15, 16 for one. The manager is important. And I agree that we will never completely transform as a club until they're gone. But this is no good.
Nothing is guaranteed. Nothing is guaranteed.
No.
You bring a new manager or a pair of managers, whatever, right? Nothing is guaranteed. We might not stay up, but it's very likely we will go down with what we've got. Right, so is all I'm proposing is you bring in someone else, whoever that may be, right, to give us a fighting chance of staying up.
Yeah,
I said about Nolan and Noble the other day, and somebody, and I'm not being disrespectful, I'm not criticising them, but they said Nolan is part of the problem because he's on the coaching staff. But what you got to remember is Nolan was there. Nolan was there before Moyes came in.
Do you think that David Moyes listens to anything anyone else says?
That's what I was going to say as well.
Not at all.
I think if you look at Nolan on the touchline, he's very different to what he was as a player. Yeah. On the touchline under Moyes, he's just sort of standing there and he talks to the subs as and when they come on. But apart from that, you'd imagine he'd be up and down gesticulating, but he don't move.
But do you know what I notice though, particularly with the likes of Ben Rama, who when he does get taken off and he looks exacerbated, he looks fucking upset when he gets taken off. Nolan is the first one to put his arm around him and give him a cuddle and just fucking. Do you know what I mean?
You know why though, don't you? When you have a lot of clubs in situations that we're in now, a lot of senior players would approach the board and they will say more often than not, give this guy a chance. He's the coach. Yeah. Because players generally have a better relationship with a coach than they do a manager. And I think in this case, that's even more highlighted because of the fact that we know Moyes doesn't talk to anybody. So the players will have more of a personable relationship with the coach.
And that is a short-term thing, isn't it, John? So that will last maybe 10, 15 games, what's left of this season. And then if you were to give him a permanent job, it would stop working.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he's not your mate anymore, right?
Yeah. I actually got that from your video. It was a very good point you made, what I just said there.
Yeah. Well, there's another question here, and this is from Man Don't Giver. And I'm gonna direct this at John because me and Gary have answered this question loads of times and we've spoken about it a lot. Right, he says, hi there. What's your opinions on those pundits that we see on Sky and all the other platforms that seem to back David Moyes every bloody time? They obviously never watch us properly, and I'm fed up of hearing the same old, he's done brilliant for the last 2 years, so he should deserve time. No one in the media seems to question his position, and it gets on my tits so much. I'll change that. It gets on my nerves so much. Your thoughts, John. Come on, John. Tell me your thoughts on that.
Look, I have Talk Sport on 24/7 when I'm working, and Match of the Day and all this other stuff you watch. I've never seen a pundit, an ex-professional or a presenter criticise Moyes at all. And very rarely do you hear any negativity towards him. The only thing I can genuinely think it is that they are sort of thinking, yeah, but you're just West Ham. You should be happy.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
And I didn't want to think that because you don't want to admit that sometimes people might think that of the club that we support and love, but it's the only feasible reason that I can see now. I can't otherwise see it. And, they have started to talk about it on Talk Sport about will West Ham go down? Because they wasn't even talking about West Ham being in the picture until like the last week or so. They've had Stuart Pearce on there. Stuart Pearce probably doesn't say too much because he's probably still got some sort of relationship with Moyes. But I think it must be that they are thinking you're lucky to have had that little bit of success that you had.
Yeah,
and you're punching, if you know what I mean. You're just little old West Ham. And that's the only reason I can see.
Yeah, no. I think we're all pretty much aligned on that. It's an absolute piss take as far as I'm concerned. If he was managing any other team at the moment, any of the top half of the table teams, then it would be a completely different message they would send him.
I think the overachievement can be attributed to a number of factors, though. The overachievement,
COVID.
which is what it was the last couple of years, right? And this is back to James Kearns again on TalkSport today. David Moyes came in. When he came in, he made 3 signings: Soufal, Souček, and Bowen, right, in that January transfer window. All cracking signings, all of them worked. But our uptick in form chimed with a couple of things. Number 1 was COVID, obviously, playing behind closed doors and everything else. Number 2 was bringing in Jesse Lingard. And number 3 was a downturn in our peer rival clubs like Aston Villa and other teams like that, which opened the way for us to thrive and grow. Right, and you even had the top teams that weren't playing well, like the Arsenals and teams like that. Right?
I think there is something to be said, and this probably isn't something that you can blame on David Moyes. I think West Ham benefited more from the pandemic than other clubs, not because of our support, but because of that fucking stadium. I do genuinely think that some other clubs were impacted more through the loss of their home support than we were. Personally, that is the way I feel. I don't think that's a great stadium for football. I don't think it is.
No.
Yeah, but then last season we played in front of crowds the whole season. And then look, it wasn't
Second
until
half of the season.
Yeah, it
Second half of
wasn't
the
until
season
the
was
second half
terrible.
of the season that it went to go.
But whatever you put it down to, the overachievement, which is what I always said it was when everyone was saying we're going to get top four, it was overachievement. Wherever you want to lay that, whatever door you want to lay that at, right? It was overachievement. And what that definitely did was it took the gloss, took the shine off the shit show who ran our club, i.e. Sullivan. For 2 seasons, he got let off scot-free. We forgot about it. Look, football fans in the main are fickle, right? We had Europe. We had a great run to the semi-final. Okay, we know what happened once we got there, but it took our minds off a lot of things. The atmosphere over the stadium was rocking on those European nights. We all said
amazing.
Yeah,
amazing.
And it made us forget for a little while. But now the harsh reality is setting in, and we're back to reality of where we actually are.
It was unforgettable, right? But you got to look at that stadium and look at the advantage or lack thereof that Spurs got when they were using Wembley as their home stadium. Right?
Yeah.
That's similar to us. That stadium is built for the massive games, right?
Yeah.
Even the big ones will struggle. It's built basically for the massive games. The massive games, it looks fantastic. It looks brilliant on telly. Looks absolutely fantastic. And I mean, the atmosphere against Seville and against Lyon, the atmosphere in that stadium was absolutely buzzing, rocking, wasn't it?
But just quickly, just to sidetrack slightly, talking about stadiums, I went to Spurs. It was my first time there. I wasn't overwhelmed with the stadium. I said this to Nick.
I said this to Nick, right, John? I said this to Nick when I first went to Spurs. I've been there 3 times now, right? And I saw the famous victory, the first defeat for Spurs in that stadium, right?
Yeah.
And when I went there, I walked in and I thought, well, it's very pretty. It's very aesthetically pleasing. You know what I mean? You look around, it's all very symmetrical, and they got the big home end down that end and everything else. But then I started noticing there's literally everywhere you can put an advert. There's an advert. There's the electronic scoreboards, fucking everywhere, all the way up the stadium. It's basically a massive commercial enterprise built for NFL, and there's no atmosphere. There's no atmosphere, none.
No. But literally everything in that stadium has dual purpose. It is. If we go back to what we spoke about earlier on about when did football stop becoming football, it's when stadiums like this are built for football, but not really for football, if you know what I mean.
That's right. Because it isn't. It's built for NFL.
It's purely a dual purpose business venture. It's not about the football anymore. It's about what you can earn secondary.
I think it's as soulless as ours, except it is more of a football venue. It's more intimate.
No, it looks better.
Gary. It is a better design. It's more intimate than ours. It is.
The biggest plus side is that it's on the same site as the old ground, so people's match day routines stay the same. That's the difference, I'd say.
Yeah, but Spurs was always shit to get to and from, and it's even worse now, right? Yeah. You try and get a train back from there or something, like we did when we went, Nick.
No! It was shocking. As you know, as Dave was talking about in that opening message.
I can park my taxi anywhere. I'm all right.
I think now on the roads. Right, we're going to do this, John and Gary. So I've just created a quick spreadsheet for us. We're going to run. We're going to run through. Look, there's 3 people that have requested it, and we've been asked by Gary, who's going to be very upset because he wanted to do this with us. But we've been asked by the Wolf of Wall Street. Please, could you go through the remaining fixtures and each give your score predict? Not going to give score predictions. It's going to be win, lose, or draw. I'd love to hear them from all of you. And somebody else has asked, what do you think our points total is going to be? So I'm just going to call out the fixture. And John, you're going to go first, then Gary, then me, and just let you know
win,
it's going to be
draw.
Win, lose, or draw. So Nottingham Forest, Gary,
draw.
John,
what same? I'd say draw as well, mate.
Yeah.
1-1.
I think I will as well for that. Next one is away at Brighton.
Loss.
Yeah, John.
Look, I'm going to judge it on current form and not what I hope.
No. You've got to anticipate. This is based on David Moyes staying for the whole season.
Brighton away, draw.
Draw. Okay. I'm going to go loss on that one. West Ham at home to Aston Villa, John.
just can't see us scoring more than 2 goals ever, or more than 1 goal.
I know.
I'd say Villa defeat.
Yep.
Unai Emery, good
Gary?
manager.
Draw. I think we're going to lose that one. This is with Moyes, by the way.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, is it even worth doing this one? Away at Man City.
Loss.
Yeah. John?
Win. No, I'm joking. Loss.
Right. This is an interesting one now. At home to Southampton, John.
Well, we can win that there, Pony. I don't care. I'd say that's a win.
Yeah, win.
Currently, as we stand, as they stand, I'd say a win.
Based on the way that we're playing at the moment, I don't think we're going to beat that.
Forget all that, right? You've got to look at now. We're predicting games for the next 15. There's a lot of ups and downs in the next few years. What you got to look at is the games where you think we've got a chance of winning. Yeah. This is definitely one of them, right? There's a chance of winning this one.
Yeah,
no, this is my prediction. These are predictions.
Predict what you want.
I think it's winnable, but I'm going to go for a draw because I think Southampton are playing better than us. I've got to be honest at the moment.
Fair enough.
So West Ham at home to Newcastle, John.
Loss.
Yeah, we're going to get munched next time. Lost.
On this one as well, I think they owe us one away at Fulham, John.
They're playing really well. I think they're playing really well.
I think they're better. I think they play better football than Newcastle. I've got to be honest. They're a brilliant team.
Well,
I mean, when they played us at our place, I've not seen a team outplay us that bad for 20 minutes. We was fucking getting ruined. If they'd have only had a striker.
I think record at away grounds and against teams count, right? I think there is a trend there. I think we get a draw at least at Fulham.
I don't. I think defeat.
We hardly ever lose there.
I know, but
I'm going for a loss. It ain't looking very positive at the moment for me, anyway. Right, is another interesting one. West Ham at home to Arsenal, John.
Loss.
We
never fucking get anything out of Arsenal.
Right now, this is another tricky one. Away at Bournemouth, who are not a bad team.
Oh my god. Well, look, I'd love to say a cheeky win, but I got to go. I can't go more than a draw on that one. We're going to go draw.
John?
Yeah, draw. The problem I've got is...
I'll go a draw.
This is a problem, John. This is a problem. You know, I said I depressed myself by going through this like a few weeks ago. I genuinely did. I was sitting there trying to figure out the permutations where we'd stay up.
Yeah, well, it gets better. West Ham at home to Liverpool. John?
Loss.
Okay. Away at Crystal Palace, Gary.
People don't realise just how much shit we're in.
Away at Crystal Palace.
Well, look, we've got a great record there. I'll tell you what, for the sake of stats, I'm going to give us a win on that one. A win.
Okay. John?
Draw.
I'm going to go draw.
I can't see us winning many because of our lack of goals. That's the problem.
No.
I just think, similar to Fulham, we've got a good record at Palace. That's what I'm basing that on.
Yep. Right. West Ham at home to Man United.
Loss.
John?
Yeah. Same. Loss.
Okay. And away at Brentford.
Easy.
Oh, easy loss.
Is Gal Platt still in charge of them?
Yeah. And then finally, this is one where, well, this is make or break. I think this could be literally a relegation fight. That's West Ham at home to Leeds.
We've got
to predict a win in that one.
We'll win that. Yeah,
we'll
I'll predict a win in that.
Although they have got a manager in place now, haven't they?
Yeah, I know.
No. We've got to win. We've got to beat them at home. So yeah.
So 1 minute. I've missed a game. So Leicester away. Gary.
Draw.
You've gone draw. John.
Loss.
I think loss. I think you lost in that one. Right. So that puts us based on John's predictions.
Is that all of them?
That's all of them. Based on John's predictions, that's 10 points from the next 15 games. That puts us on 30. Gary, you've given us 14. Puts us on 34. I've given us 7. That puts us on 27.
Fucking hell, I'm the optimist of the group. This is worrying, isn't it?
How bad is that, though? Thing is, when
John,
you go through...
you're only slightly more optimistic than him.
Yeah, but when you go through it game by game, even the winnable games, Bournemouth, we're away.
This is what I was saying.
Brentford, we're away. Palace, we're away.
There are no bankers in there.
No.
In fact, when I did my 5 wins, I picked 5 wins from that lot. That included like Bournemouth away,
Yeah.
Palace away.
Fulham,
You know,
probably. Fulham, probably.
Yeah. I was trying to pick 5, and they're the 5 that I picked, but they're at best unlikely. You know,
I mean, the thing is, if you are a manager that's going to be
think we're
asked
fucked.
if you, what manager can come in and save us from that? Really? Because what do we need? 5? Do you think we need 5 wins?
Well,
do you think 5 wins will do it?
There is only one.
I think it's going to be lowest point total ever to stay up. I think
It fucking needs to be, doesn't it?
well, it
There's
needs to
only
be
one.
fun-
There's
Go on,
only
Dan.
one chink of light in this, John and Nick. There's one chink of light, and that is the last 5 or 6 games are notoriously unreliable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you get a lot of freak results and things like
Yeah.
that. But also, people have said this, and this is not being overly optimistic, but you've also got to remember that a lot of teams are playing a lot of other teams in and around themselves. So there'll be results going for and against us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like on Saturday, whose Saturday is it? Leeds and Palace?
Leeds,
Or Leeds
no. Basically, unless it's a draw, if we lose, we're going down a place because that's Leeds versus Southampton.
Leeds,
Yeah,
Southampton.
It's 2 teams below us.
What did we stay
probably
up
won
with
as well,
Zola?
didn't we?
No,
what did we
yeah, I
stay
know.
up- What points did we start with Zola? Was it 34, which was a right freak, or was it 30, or was it more than that? I can't remember what it was, but
Nigel
It's
can
30,
read
36.
you've
I
got
think
to
it's
be
36.
lucky.
That was.
You've got to be lucky, right? You've got to be lucky because you've really got to aim for 40, right, to try and be safe.
We're not going to get anywhere near 40.
I know we went down on 42 once, but that was when there was 22 teams in the league, so that was a bit of a freak. It wasn't real.
But do
40
you know
points
what
generally
that?
makes you safe.
But you know what that does show us, though. Of all the misery we've had this season, we ain't going to get really any respite, are we?
No, but this is what makes me going back to the previous. Sorry, John. Going back to the previous thing about Mickey Smith, who's saying like people who still want Moyes in. I'm sure they haven't sat down and looked at the fixtures like this. I'm sure they just got some vague hope that a miracle's going to happen. Because if you look at the actual facts and the fixtures, you're going to be searching.
Listen, if it's just blind hope, you look at these games and go, oh yeah, Bournemouth a win. But if you base it on the way that we're playing at the moment and the way that these other teams are playing, I mean, these teams are going away to, Liverpool's, Chelsea's, Arsenal's, Everton, for instance. They're getting results. But
we always knew Everton would with Deitch going in. We always knew.
I know.
that.
Yeah,
I know.
we did, yeah.
Right. Well, look,
We
let's
always knew
get the next. Let's get the next one in. This is Will Wheeler.
Oh, Will Wheeler.
Hello, chaps. Hope you're well. My question is, if Big Sam was to come in and played Bowen or Cornet left, Mickey, Benrahma right, feeding Skamaka up top with probably Ings just behind, which he could well do, would you take him?
If he was going to do that for the rest of the season, I would. Yes, personally,
I was thinking about this earlier, right?
I would.
Now, I know Big Sam got a lot of stick for his style of football, but what I don't remember is, as much as it was boring to some extent,
It was nothing like this.
At least we spent a lot of time in the opposition half.
It was nothing like this.
Yeah.
Exactly. At least there were balls being put into the box where you had half a chance of scoring a goal. We're not even having. Listen, we're scoring far less than a goal a game in the league.
I know.
We are literally having one shot on target a game if we're lucky. Under Allardyce, as Route 1 as it was, or whatever you want to call it, at least we were creating headed chances, half chances. You're creating havoc in the opposition's box. The keeper's having to come out and panic and punch it, and all these things. It wasn't as dire as it is now, the start of football. I'll tell you that much. That's my opinion.
So the answer is, John, we'll go to Gary in a minute. If you was offered that from Allardyce, you would do it. Yeah, so would I. Gary?
I would, begrudgingly.
So would I. So would I.
Well, listen, right. Sam Allardyce, as much as Nigel can't stand him, but Sam Allardyce never pretended to be anything that he isn't.
No,
right? He never pretended to play lovely football or even have the objective of playing lovely football. In fact, his objective was I don't give a fuck what you lot think. And he was very open about it.
I think he's a big, brash, arrogant bastard. At least you know what he is.
I don't care what you lot think. I'm going to try and get enough points to stay up, and that's it. Right?
When Nigel chased him around the one-way system, didn't he stick his finger up at him? He went, fuck
when you look at even Sam Allardyce, one of his most famous phrases was talking about the position of maximum opportunity.
Yeah,
aka the far post, right? Yeah. Because it was all about bombarding that box with crosses and getting a big bloke to head the ball in.
No, but right? he also had Nolan in there picking up the crumbs. Pick up the crumbs.
Second ball,
second ball. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, but that was. But I'm saying what I'm saying with this is he did intend to attack. That was that was his raison d'etre, was to attack and score goals. It wasn't to entertain us or do anything.
But he had a game.
Score industrial goals
in his game plan. His game plan was to try and score and to win games.
Yeah,
it was.
Yes,
it was.
I think Sam Allardyce, when he done the thing with the kids in the FA Cup at Forest,
terrible.
That's when a lot of people's opinions shifted, because we knew what his style was and all that. But when he did that, that's when he crossed the line.
Was that worse than what Moyes done? So what did Becco against Man United, his parent team?
I'll tell you what, it wasn't worse, because that was disgusting what he did to Ollie Becco that night.
Was bad, because that was against the team that he came from as well.
That game was already fucked. He ruined that kid's career in one night, and that was targeted at that one kid. Whereas at least Sam Allardyce, it was like scattergun. It was targeted at a lot of kids. It wasn't personal.
You want kids? I'll give you kids.
Exactly. No, what he did to Ollie Becco, I remember seeing him subbed off again, and I thought, oh fuck, that is harsh.
I know.
That is harsh.
I know. Right. Okay. So yes, Will, we would go for Sam Allardyce. How bad has it got that we would accept that?
Nigel will be spitting feathers at us saying
he will. We're gonna have one less subscriber tomorrow.
He don't subscribe anyway, you dreamer.
I know. Right. The next one is from Sam. Don't know his surname.
How you doing, lads? I'll keep this short and sweet. What do you think the chances of Moyes actually starting Danny Ings at the weekend? Keeps going on about we need goals. Surely he's got to be the man for it, isn't he?
Nope.
Gary,
can I go on that? Because after the game on Sunday, David Moyes made a point of saying how Danny Ings and Benny, the two substitutes, have got to score more goals. Right, which I thought was a little bit of a piss take. I couldn't work out whether he's being serious or not, but obviously he was. What he's not going to say is, Antonio, Mickey, I love Mickey. Give him a 30 grand a week rise, Mickey. Oh, he's on 100 grand now. He ain't scored for 13 games, right? Yeah. This guy just runs around up top, keeping people busy, never scores a goal. And yet he's number one on Moyes' team sheet every time. So in answer to your question, no fucking chance. Ings ain't starting on Saturday. Not a hope in hell.
The most important thing for a David Moyes striker are the defensive attributes of that striker, not the offensive attributes. Go on, John. Will he start him?
No. If he has the same system, then it's going to be Antonio up top, because of what we've said in the past, that Antonio is his dream striker. And look, I do get sick of people slagging off Antonio. I've said it for 18 months now.
It's not his fault. It's not his fault.
No, it isn't, but a lot of people say he can't hit a barn door and all this stuff. But when you're getting no service, what the fuck are you expected to do?
Exactly.
When you're battling on your own with no one around you against 2-3 centre halves, you are just being told to run through brick walls. You're not there to score goals. You're there to purely win free kicks occasionally, and hopefully we'll score from a free kick. But I feel sorry for the guy. I've said it for ages. He's been hung out to dry for far too long, and his legacy is being ruined because the fans, to some extent rightly, are saying, well, we're not scoring goals while you're playing him, but it's not Antonio's fault.
I think the difference is when Antonio does go or he retires, we will still think of him fondly, even if the last year or so has been a bit tetchy. We will.
But that's a really
will.
good point. But that's a really good point, John. Let's not have a go at Antonio. It's not his fault.
Yeah,
right?
no,
It's
it's not.
He's doing what he's.
It's
he's
like
doing
four.
what
It's
he's
like
asked to
four
do.
nails.
He's doing-
People slag off four nails because he ain't creating and doing this and doing that. His job ain't to create in a David Moyes team. He's a creative player, but he's being used as a labourer. You know. Right.
If you look now, Soucek is being used as a goalkeeper, isn't he?
Yeah. Great save.
Good at it, though, isn't he? He's
Right.
good at it. Great
Right.
save.
I'm taking a risk here. I actually haven't listened to this message yet. Okay, this was sent to us on our post-match phone-in show from Dave Trevitt.
Happy birthday, Dave. How old is he today?
Yeah. No, yesterday it was.
25.
Happy birthday, Dave. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Dave. And
Happy belated birthday flip-flop.
yes, I still haven't listened to it, so I don't know what this is going to be. It's probably going to be quite sweary, so I do apologise in advance. Well, I don't really, but yeah, this is raw Dave Trevitt.
Hey Nick, how's it doing? Right, so we've just finished playing. Figure of speech, isn't it? Question for all of you. At what point are they going to fucking do something about this moron that's managing our team? That was diabolical today. That is the worst performance I've ever seen against Tottenham. Home or away, worst performance ever. So let's get the twat out tonight. And stop messing about, and let's start playing some football. I'm sick of this calm ball. Okay, it ain't Moyes ball's calm ball. Sort it out and get rid. I ain't calling in tonight because I'm ready to go, mate. I'm ready to go.
I can hear him. He's going to explode.
You can hear he's angry, isn't he? He's angry. But the thing is, he's absolutely right. He's bang on. That is not exaggerating. That was the worst performance against Spurs that I think I've ever seen.
Well, I'll tell you what. You've had people who even Moyes fans. I'm calling you out, Nigel, on this, right? Previously, Moyes fans.
He's not a Moyes fan now. To be fair to him,
no, he's not.
We should remove that label now. Nigel is now. He's on the bandwagon. He's got a Moyes out flag, and he'll be flying it at the game at the weekend.
He's not a Moyes fan, but him and several others, like Dave Hurst earlier, who's a absolute, religious,
It's positive.
away supporter, follows us everywhere, right? Up and down. I saw him in Newcastle, absolute up and down the country every week, every other week, right? These people are calling it out now. They're calling it out as that. These are people who have been to Spurs. I mean, how many times have I been to Spurs? Probably 6-7 times over the years, right? We've lost. I think we've won three of those, won about half of them. But people have been there through the misery years and seen all those defeats and everything else. And these people who have seen maybe 30 or 40 games against Tottenham, they're actually calling it out as the worst performance they've ever seen. The worst performance.
It was soft.
When that goal went in, when that I know we almost went straight down the other end and scored, but beyond that, there was nothing, was there?
Yeah,
no,
nothing at all.
There wasn't a tackle.
No,
there was no one tackling.
I was doing maths inside my head there about 30 or 40 times to see West Ham against Tottenham. I've probably seen them 30 or 40 times because that's probably how long I've had a home season ticket. So, these are people who have probably seen it 60 or 70 times, right? And they're calling it out as the worst. Worst.
Because you don't mind losing. You don't mind losing, but when there's no fight, that's what pisses you off even more. Now, that's where the players, to some extent, do have to take a sense of responsibility, in my opinion. Yeah. I know what you're going to say, Nick, about playing under Moyes is demoralising and all that. I get it.
Oh, no, they do.
If I was angry with the manager and I'm losing and my team's in a relegation fight against one of our fiercest rivals, I'd fucking knock someone flying like John Moncur, Noble, Dix would have done, Alvin Martin, players like that.
But we're lacking those characters, and I think with the departure of Dawson, he was probably the last one.
Did you notice that at the end of that game? Did you notice? And I found this quite demoralising when Perisic. No. It was Holberg had a go at Rice, and Rice decided to have a go back at Holberg over the tackle by Perisic and everything else, right? But what happened was Rice was having a go at Holberg. The whole Spurs team gathered round to back up Holberg. Not a single West Ham player.
No,
not one.
We're not together. We're not together at all. It's not a team at the moment.
We didn't get one booking. Not one of our players got booked, apart from Antonio when Kane cheated. But we didn't get one booking. And in a London derby, when you're fighting for your life, I know I'm repeating myself, we didn't get one booking, and that is astounding.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Kane did cheat as well, didn't he? That was the actual ball.
Absolute
that was the ball that hit Kane's foot. and he's gone down, rolling around like it's the England captain. Have some pride, you prick. You know they're going to show the slow motion replay, Harry, dribbling everywhere, mate.
I know. And this is just to kind of we haven't got time to go through all the messages that we had tonight because we're going to try and keep this to an hour. So thank you to everyone that's sent messages in. I've sort of cherry picked them.
But there's for next week, yeah.
We'll save them for next week. But there's a comment that Jonathan Russell Brand sent in after the game. I was having a little chat with him, and obviously he's back and forth on Moyes, isn't he? But he said simply, this situation is like a Greek tragedy. To be riding so high and end up fucked like this, it's more than I can take, to be honest. Yeah. Quite poetic, but it's true though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
we're being taken. We were riding high, whether you like it or not. We were.
I know.
But it almost becomes same old West Ham, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Almost in your head, it like runs in cycles, and you think, well, what do you expect? It's us. Bad luck or whatever you want to call it. It just seems to happen to us, you know.
It just follows us around. We can't escape it. And I don't think we're going to until that bloke's gone. But look, I'll tell you what. Let's fast forward. Let's imagine that the worst case happens. Right, we get relegated. We know that we're going to get a fire sale of players. We know that. But hopefully we'll have a new manager. But do you not think when you see the likes of the under-18s that played tonight, and they're now through to the semi-final, they beat Ipswich 4-2, didn't they? Well, you see the talent in that team. If we was to get the right manager in, we've got Mark Noble there now, who's kind of driving the youth academy. Do you think that there still could be light at the end of the tunnel, even with Sullivan in charge, with some of these bright young players that we've got coming through? Because we'd have to rely on them. I know that we'll still see some of the same old faces when we go down. We'll still have Fabianski. We'll still have Cresswell. We'll still probably have Antonio. We'll still have Antonio. We'll probably still have Ogbonna down there, I would have thought.
We'll have a few.
I don't know.
We'll have a few.
We'll have Downs in the middle. We'll have Coventry probably back from loan.
No one's going to buy Zuma. We're going to have to pay Zuma's massive salary down in the Championship.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah, we're not going to get rid of him in a hurry.
Who's going to buy him?
Yeah.
And we'll have Ings. Ings will play, right?
Gary, Gary, you can't have 140 grand striker in the Championship, especially an injury prone one.
Yeah, you can't. Because if you listen to Sean's thing the other day, we're going to lose 50 million a year, right? But we're going to bring 300 million in the first year. That
forecast. I spoke to him. That forecast is based on the adjustments of selling all of the players. So only losing 50 million a year.
So we lose players after that.
What's that?
We'd lose 50 million after that.
Once all of the adjustments had been done to get us ready for a year in the Championship, which means getting the wage bill down, then we would only be 50 million worse off.
Well, that's a disaster, isn't it? So look, I like to think that Sullivan would have an epiphany, and maybe his new young girlfriend would whisper sweet nothings in his ear about Will Steele and how she thinks he's the future of West Ham. You know,
why not though? I'll tell you what.
Honestly, that's the sort of thing that excites me. Does it not excite you? It really excites me.
They ain't got his badges yet. They can't do it.
Get his badges. Fast track him through.
I'll tell you what. Gary from Romford phoned me earlier on when I was on my way, and he kept me company in traffic on the A406. And he said
3 hours.
No, not for 3 hours. About 25 minutes. But he said about Kevin Keane.
Yeah. Well, I think if you're going to go for a caretaker manager at the moment, that is probably who you would use. That is probably who you would use. I know what I said today, but Kevin Keane, West Ham diehard, youth player, is now who's he managing now? The under-23s,
the under-18s, isn't he?
Was it the under-18s? But whatever it is, I mean, you could go, you could do worse than. Listen, I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's Warburton, right? Just somebody. Yeah, listen, Sullivan has the advantage of sitting down with his people.
I think we've got better options than Warburton.
Sullivan has the advantage to sit down with these people and hear what they've got to say and get them to promote themselves and tell them what they're going to do to the team in this remaining 15 games.
Yeah,
I'd love that. I'd love that opportunity to sit down and talk to all the candidates and find out what which one of them you think is you're going to believe in. Because look, as we've already agreed. We're probably going to get relegated anyway.
I think we quite possibly are.
Yeah.
Look. I must admit. I mean, I've looked at the fixture list, but I've not gone through it game by game like that before.
I told
It's
you.
Fucking
I told you last
shocking.
week. It's demoralising, Nick. It's demoralising. We ain't got a good set of fixtures left, which fuels my anger when these people go, "Oh, you've got to give him time." We don't have time.
No.
It's the one thing we don't have.
Jesus.
So I've been a bit emotional tonight, but I've had a few beers. So
So
You know,
Elvis juice.
Kevin King's got the worst win percentage as West Ham manager ever. You know that, though, didn't you?
yeah, I do. Yeah. He's got bow legs. That's his
Yeah.
problem.
No, I know.
He was manager for 2 games and lost them both, I think Nigel said. So it's not a very good record.
Right. Okay. Well, look, it's 1 hour and 15 minutes. So we'll leave it there. We'll leave it there. We'll cut this one short, and we'll collate the questions that we haven't put up this week, and we'll include them in next week's show. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, John.
Cheers. Thanks,
And,
all.
We've got to go before midnight because Gary is literally turning into an orange pumpkin.
He actually is.
I'm getting more orange as time goes on. Yeah.
I'd say, should we give our score predictions for the weekend? I mean, we've already done it, really, haven't we? A draw before we go.
I said
Just
one-
very
I said
quickly.
one-
I'll go 1-1. I'll go 1-1.
I'm going to say 1-1, and I think Chris Wood's going to score against us.
I gave us a point in the in that predictor. I think we're going to lose. So I'm going.
Chris Woods is playing for them, is he?
Yeah, they bought Chris Wood off Newcastle.
Oh
They
my
took him,
God, no!
They
so
took him on loan and then made it permanent.
So I'm going. I'm going to go 2-0 to Nottingham Forest.
You
Personally,
said we were going to draw.
yeah, no, I'll put that on the score predictor. I was just trying to be positive.
That lasted long.
I know. No, I know. Even then, even being positive, I only gave us 7 points. But no, I do think we'll lose. I do. I think that they've got too much pace. I think they're gonna go for us, and I think we're gonna struggle.
Well, that Gibbs White in the middle is having a great sort of bit of form.
There's one good bit of news. One good bit of news is that I think 2 games ago, both of their regular centre half, their first choice, went off with the same injury and they're ruled out for another couple of weeks.
Yeah.
They've got about 47 other centre halves.
They've got a fair size squad.
Yeah.
Right, let's cut it off anyway before it runs too long. Anyway, see you later on.
Yeah, see you later. Come on, you ones.
Come on, you ones.
Yes. And